Yeah, had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.
And now, welcome to the Nate and Garrett Show. Prepare yourself to be transported to the furthest reaches of reality. As the hosts unravel the mysteries of the universe, the depths of the deep state, the truth hidden in plain sight, all while bringing you the news from this week. Please welcome your hosts, Nate and Garrett.
Garrett.
Hey, Nate. Hey, everybody.
We're live. We did it.
Hello.
My kids' music. There we go.
You just get right into it. For the first time, maybe in my entire life, I'm hopeful that the deep state actually might be taking a big hit. And I'm not just talking about, I'm not just talking about the deep state like here in the U.S. I think it's a worldwide thing. There's too many coincidences. You know, out of nowhere when the U.S. opened its borders, the floodgates, just willy-nilly, basically, out of nowhere. The same thing happened in Canada, and the same thing happened in the EU.
Yeah, everywhere in Europe.
Yeah, basically everywhere. And we're starting to see some pushback. Did you follow at all, like, the France elections? Their elections there, they work really weird.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Macron
that.
was basically screwed. So on his way out, I didn't even quite get it. He called a special election, and it basically stopped the far right from taking power.
Yeah, what I remember from the France election is Marie Le Pen got like 70% of the vote, but she lost because of the weird way France does it. And also, like, the Communist Party and the Liberal Party joined together to rob her of the
It doesn't
election.
make sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. But
and it's all about immigration. So it's so weird. These power-hungry people that want to hold on to power forever, they're willing to take this giant risk of just letting in tons of migrants to come over and just change the culture. And I think it's because they thought they had big tech, media. I mean, we're seeing it in the UK. They're throwing people in jail for prison for a long time for saying they're against immigration, essentially.
Yeah.
Like you're toast. You're locked up for saying that. They're going through them extreme lengths, and it's really starting to hurt. I mean, Germany's starting to fall. Canada's starting to fall.
What else could it be that all of these countries in the whole world all just open their doors to immigration?
Yes.
And then it ends up causing huge problems for all the countries.
Yeah.
And now, because the U.S. is pulling back on that, other countries are trying to. But like you said, the people are being arrested for speaking out and stuff.
Yeah,
it looks like a global deep state.
You heard about Romania's election? There was kind of like a Canada. The polls showed they get like 3% of the vote or something. And once again, they have multiple rounds, but he got like the most votes by far. And now they're saying, "Oh my God, this guy's so far right that he's of course they're calling him a Nazi and stuff."
Right.
But it's basically he came out of nowhere, and it's just so obvious why they're doing this. But it's so crazy. I think that this had to be all at once thing. I don't think they could have just said. I don't think France could have said, you know what, we're just going to bring in a ton of immigrants, or Canada, or Germany, UK, because it would put too much strain on them, and you would see the difference when those countries started to fail, basically.
Right.
And so now you do it all at once, and you don't notice, because a lot of like GDP, a lot of currencies, they're measured against each other. Well, now Argentina's currency, I think we've shown that a lot. But that was basically, they're going to hyperinflation. They were in deep, deep trouble. Milei comes to power to stop that. We're being told by our media, by our economists, that he's going to make it way worse. And now all of a sudden, their GDP is estimated like 9%.
Yeah, they're 9% like booming.
While slashing. Just most of their jobs in their country were government jobs. And most of their government jobs, they didn't even show up to work. It was basically just crony communism, essentially. So he goes in and slashes all that. People freak out. And all of a sudden now they have, I think it's even deflation this quarter. So instead of inflation, they have deflation, which they always try to like act like we had deflation here. They'll say, inflation's coming down. Inflation's coming down. The rate of inflation might be slowing, but inflation's not coming down. It's still at like 2 or 3 or 4%. And that's a lot. That's still, because it's a lot. Historically, it's not a lot. It's a lot now because we're already up 20, 30% since this Biden-Harris regime took over. So then it kind of just adds up. They keep acting like prices are coming down. Prices are coming down. No, they're not. They're still going up very, very fast.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Oh, I mean, obviously, it's the socialist policies in all these countries destroy it.
Yeah.
And Milei went into Argentina and said, let's do capitalism instead. Yeah. And now the country's booming.
And it's so funny. They knew that this was a problem, so they tried to lie to you. They had media, remember? They had big tech. They had everybody but X. And they tell you that the economy is the best it's ever been. And they don't believe it. Everyone doesn't believe it because they feel it. They feel when their grocery bill goes up to $400 or $500 a week. So they don't like being lied to. But then they blame X and X users for lying to them when it's obvious that it's just they're feeling that pain. But there's only one thing that could cause inflation. Well, one main thing. Let's say like nationwide. There's other things that could kind of cause temporary changes to inflammatory pressure. But there's really only one thing, and it's government overspending and government overprinting.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that really causes this nationwide giant inflation we're seeing. And they lied to you. They told you it was transitory. They told you it was because China's shipping lanes were messed up during COVID. Well, that didn't last very long. Then they told you it was, what was it? I think they had so many stupid excuses. And now that they settled on it's corporate greed, even though grocery stores make like their margins are so small. If they took no margins, it wouldn't really change the rate of inflation just because their margins are that small. So either they have a complete misunderstanding of economics, which I think is part of it. Two, they're just lying to you and they want it to be the bad guy's fault, which is, I think, is more likely what's happening there.
Yeah. And they can't be their fault, so they have to blame somebody, so blame the other team.
And it's kind of funny. Trump came in and said, you've probably seen this too, but he said, I'm levying a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico because they're letting too much illegals into the country. And the left went crazy on it. Media went crazy, telling you how you're going to pay more for everything. And they're telling you how everything's going to cost more. Well, Canada and Mexico already folded, essentially, and said, okay.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is because the U.S. is stopping the immigration, we're going to have less of that pressure with our spending and our government's pressure, that it's going to start showing up in other things. You're going to start seeing the Japanese yen continue to really fall. You're going to see the Canadian dollar really starting to fall. Germany's made basically every bad financial decision you could make. Every decision they could have made in the last decade has been terrible. They went and they just shut down their nuclear power plants somehow in the name of green energy. They did that to rely on Russian gas. Well, now we know what happens there. And now they're opening up like coal plants or something, but they're just doing everything wrong. Everything wrong. Germany's in deep trouble. So, these other countries that want to open up, start businesses, they see the Canadian dollar crashing. They see the Japanese yen crashing. They see Europe doing bad. It's going to bring more business to the U.S. is what it's going to do. And we're going to see a big part of that. But I sent you, if you open up, I sent you a couple interesting videos on this. It's kind of funny, just to kind of get started with that email.
Before I bring up what you've got, first let's read Kenobi's comment. Kenobi says, Can you imagine all these government leeches that will have to actually work after Doge is done?
Yeah, the US
that's their worst nightmare.
If you look at our GDP growth, a huge percent of our GDP growth is government spending. Government spends way more, and it looks like, hey, our GDP is going up. If you take off the excess government spending, it's flat or even negative.
God, I never thought about
California,
that.
In California, the most of the job growth, they keep telling you, like, look at jobs are booming, jobs are booming. It's something like, it's a ridiculous number. I thought it was fake when I first saw it. It's in the 90%. I think it's upper 90s. In job growth in California, almost 90-something% of it is government jobs.
It's all government jobs, yeah. That's what happens with socialist.
Yes.
Those
aren't real jobs. Government can't create jobs.
That sucks wealth away from the people.
It sucks wealth away from you. You can create leeches.
Yeah.
We do need a couple of leeches there, but we don't need anywhere near what we have right now.
Dude, that's why Doge is so great. It's because they're going to cut the bloated federal government and rein in spending. Yeah. Kenobi says, why is the leftist government workers are always lecturing everyone on how the economy is fine?
I'm sure if you're sitting in your basement doing nothing and just picking a paycheck, it's fine.
Yeah, if I was collecting $200K
government worker,
push
I don't
papers
care that
around.
Groceries are going up. I'm getting paid a ridiculous amount.
Things are great, guys.
There's a reason they call them public servants, and it's because they used to not get paid as much as the private sector.
Yeah,
but that's not a thing anymore.
So while we were talking about Argentina doing so great, Javier Milei went on the Lex Friedman podcast. Did you see any of that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so this thread has a ton of videos, and I watched probably six of them.
Did you see that stats? Go up a little bit more.
Which one? This one? This one?
Yeah. Inflation go down a little bit.
Okay.
Inflation in the first half of December was at 7,500%. GDP is down 15 over the previous decade. Holy cow.
Nearly 50% in poverty. Look at that inflation. Like, that is so close to the end of the currency. You know what I mean?
That's when you have wheelbarrows of cash that you're bringing to bread. The next step is you're burning that cash for warmth, essentially.
So that's what Milei came into. He became president with this shit coming. Like, how crazy.
And he said it's going to be painful, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't at all. As soon as you start getting rid of it, it was painful for the leech.
Yeah, I'm sure it was for the leeches.
And that's
the leeches hated it.
Everybody else went, oh, thank God we can breathe. We can make our own money. I can have a business. The government is off my back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play this first video because he talks about cutting the government. It's only 1:44, but he says, like, we had to cut some departments. So I'll just let him do it. It's translated, of course.
The reality is that, look, in Argentina, for example, the most popular sport is soccer. When you go to watch an Argentina match, it is beautiful. The stands are full and they're all painted with sky blue and white colors. There is a lot of joy. People sing songs that are very fun, that are very distinctive. It's very much part of Argentine folklore, so to speak. But you see, that beautiful show is external. That is to say, it does not determine the outcome. You place the ball in the middle of the field, and no matter how much people shout, the ball doesn't move. The one who moves the ball and scores the goals is Messi. So, what do I mean? If you don't get involved and don't get into it, no, you don't do anything. So, I mean, what do I know? Is that there are many liberals, libertarians, and anarcho-capitalists who are really useless, because all they do is criticize, let's say, those of us who want to lead the world toward the ideas of freedom. And what they don't realize is that power is a zero-sum game. And if we don't have it, then the left will have it. Therefore, if you level your harshest criticism at those in your own ranks, you end up being subservient to socialism, probably. And also, for instance, you have cases of strong hypocrisy, let's say. I have seen cases of agarists.
Okay, I mean, I think he made a cool point there about, you know, and actually that isn't the video I wanted to play. The video the video I wanted to play, he says, look, we had to cut departments. and I apparently moved the
You know
camera
what's
around. I forget which one it is, so I'm not going to try to find it. But
you know what's interesting? He said power is a zero-sum game.
That's
Did you
what
ever say that?
Yeah. How
That's
cool is that
interesting
idea?
because it's kind of right. And when it comes to the economy, it's not a zero-sum game. It's almost the exact opposite. And that's where a lot of people that understand economy are liberals. They look at like Elon and go, God, there's this pie out there, I think there's a slice of pie that's very finite. And they think he's gotten most of it. And that means there's way less for them and crumbs left for them. That's not how it works. He's expanded that pie way more than he's taken. He does that by creating jobs and creating goods. And the really easy way to look at it is let's say you're a baker and you bake a bread, and I come in and I give you $5 for it because it looks good, I'll buy it. I say thank you. You say thank you. It's a transaction. It's not like you're stealing that $5 from me. I'm not stealing that bread for you.
Everybody benefits.
You created something. That's what creating an economy does. It expands that economy. And a great economy, it's like how a rising tides lifts all ships. That's really what's happening with a good economy. That's why as we go, the economy gets stronger, there's less and less poverty.
Right.
But what the left tries to say is like, oh, we learned that trickle-down economics doesn't work. Nobody's talked about trickle-down economics. That's like a weird straw man that they come up with and they can talk about over and over.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's talking about that. Yes, in the capitalist system, there's going to be people that are more motivated to get rich. If you take Elon's money and distribute it out to the rest of whatever, it's going to go right back to him anyway. That's how it works. The innovators and the people that the great thinkers and a lot of the people that aren't risk adverse. They're out there taking risks. They're gonna accumulate more of the capital than somebody else that isn't as money motivated.
Right.
It makes sense.
You know, I really think the economy is like it's either capitalism or socialism, and if it's capitalism, then everyone benefits in the end. Everyone gets less poor. And if it's socialism, everyone gets more poor, except a few people at the top who become extremely wealthy.
Zero-sum game of the people in power.
Right. But capitalism, you know, it's just freedom, and I really, really think it's great. And people blame the problems in the U.S., and they say, oh, late-stage capitalism. But it's really just socialist policies that have messed capitalism up.
It's look at like California. We're gonna see way less innovation out of California just because they got super rich, and then you have people voting and their votes, they want a piece of that. And what they do, the rich do it too. They do it by putting in a bunch of arbitrary, stupid rules, and they do it in the name of safety. But next thing you know, your bureaucracy is so bloated, it's impossible to open up a business there. It's impossible to start something there.
And the currency's not worth anything.
And we're seeing it in California. Like Tesla's the last car company that's in California, and they're leaving California with most of their expansions. They're not expanding in California, but no other car companies in California because their restrictions are ridiculous.
Well, how about California re-legalized theft? California made theft under $1,500 like a misdemeanor, or even less. And so theft went rampant, and retail stores started closing and leaving. Yeah. And California got a clue and said, like, we need to make theft a crime again, right? And did it.
Yeah, that's a right-wing conspiracy for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it was racism when they found out it really couldn't hide it anymore that was happening.
Right. And I mean, it's just so, how many times do humans have to realize that socialism just destroys everything, becomes a lawless hellscape?
I mean,
every single time.
Look what happened during COVID, and we could argue about what caused it. Was it the PPP loans? Obviously, that's you're printing money. You don't have, and that's what they act like. They act like, well, what are you going to cut? How are you going to cut this? Like, we don't have the money. We're in debt. That debt is exponentially rising. We don't have the money, so something's going to have to get cut. Because they act like, where are you going to start? It doesn't matter. You go to a household and you're making $3,000 a month, but you're spending $7,000 a month. You're gonna have to cut off. You're gonna have to get to the point where you're in a surplus again. And we can't keep going forever like this, or else we're gonna have that hyperinflation. And it looked like it finally, like the camel got his back broke during COVID. Was it the $1,200 checks they kept sending out? Partially. Was it the PPP grants Partially. Was it shutting people in their houses and making businesses close? Yep.
Yeah.
It was all of it.
Was it printing $500 trillion, giving it to the banks and the airlines, and just giving it to the cohorts at the top? There's a lot of things that.
Isn't the government paying $50,000 for a bolt? Yes, it is. All that is very inflationary forces.
And just a huge federal government, way too much going on, way too many workers. And that's what Doge is going to fix, man. I really believe in like Elon and Vivek, Ron Paul. I think it's going to be the best thing for the country.
Trump had 2 picks. Kash Patel, who I think is his best pick, because he's all about dismantling the FBI, really, and kind of going after the deep state. That's what he's all about.
Should we get into Kash Patel a little bit?
You know what? Go open up the things I sent you quick on immigration.
Okay.
I'm not going to be quick.
Let me read this real quick. Okay. Malay slashed government ministries from 18 to 9. Then he fired 50,000 government employees. If every country did that, think how good that would be for every country, which is so funny. Liberals actually think that the 50,000 government employees is like a good thing.
Do you know what you hear a lot? I mean, you've heard a lot too. You and your Putin talking points, Nate. What do they say when you say we shouldn't be giving this much money to Ukraine? What do they say? It's money spent in the U.S., Nate. They're sending weapons. It doesn't matter.
McConnell admitted it was money laundering for the defense contractor.
That they don't have, spending it and blowing it on. It doesn't matter if you're skipping, if it's going straight to Ukraine or not. Spreading it out to the military-industrial complex here doesn't help us.
Yeah, stealing my money and giving it to Lockheed Martin to make missiles and then blow up some country somewhere, that doesn't help me at all. That makes me
stupid
poor.
Idea of the broken window fallacy. They used to think that if you would go around and break everyone's windows, it was a net positive on the economy, because then you'd have to call a window repairman and they had to come out, and then you have to buy a window, so it's going to help manufacturing. And they thought it was going to go on that line, and it was going to stimulate the economy.
That's Keynesian economics.
Anyone worth their grain of salt knows it's the opposite. That's destructive. That hurts the economy.
Yeah,
that's wasteful.
That's what evil people try to convince you of, and people still think that. People still think war. Well, economy's down. We need a big war. It's like Jesus.
This money to Ukraine actually is good for us because it's being spent here first.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
Yeah, let's get some more middlemen in there.
Kenobi says less government jobs will bring down health insurance too. Boxbar says COVID was an experiment of value. People realized they could live without a bunch of shit, and universities realized they were football schools that minored in education. Without money coming in, funny how shit becomes less valuable. Dude, talk about a scam. Universities, oh my God.
Yeah. You know what it is, too? When you get into government, it is that they give everybody these student loans with basically just for applying. You apply, you get these student loans. You go to the government, you go to the school hikes up tuition. Government gives you more student loans. They hike up tuition more, and it just causes giant
It's so obvious.
Inflating prices. And then you have people going, no, that's not it. What are you going to do without student loans? Nobody can go to school. Exactly. No one goes to school. Look at the growth if you type it in, though. Like the growth of administrators compared to teachers. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Administrators is the same thing. It's like a mini government. And it's super bloated.
Dude, I think Kash Patel makes a point like that.
Yeah, I think one thing Doge is going to do is any university that takes federal money, which is basically all of them, any university that takes federal money, they can't have any DEI stuff at all. They're not going to give them money.
Good. Get rid of DEI. I love that it's dying.
Yeah. I sent you
your camera keeps shrinking, Garrett. I'm going to keep making it bigger, but I don't know why that keeps happening.
I sent you a couple of links. Start with the one where it talks about the hotel.
Okay, this one?
You look at this.
Let me make sure it's on our...
$220 million to rent the entire Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan. And it houses illegal migrants. And those migrants, they have that card that we talked about in the past too, that has money loaded onto it. The craziest thing about this, though, is this hotel is owned by Pakistan government. So this is a hotel owned by the Pakistan government. So basically, the U.S. is using your tax money because they wouldn't spend. It's a funny thing. None of these bureaucrats or politicians would spend their money on this. Like if someone set up, which is supposed to be, this stuff like this is supposed to go through charities, private charities, basically. If there's a private charity saying, hey, there's a hotel that's owned by the Pakistani government, we think that we should rent that out, give that money to the Pakistani government so these illegals can live there. Oh, but by the way, they can't work, so we're also going to pay for their food and clothing and everything. How much money do you want to give a month, Nate? You would say, sorry, I got my own problems.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have other charities
that
I think are more worthwhile for my money.
Yeah.
But since the government is spending your money on someone else, they don't give a shit. That's what's kind of funny when like Biden's known for saying this. He'll say something like, I'm not going to apologize for helping out students with student loans. It's not you doing it, you old evil bastard.
Yeah.
You're stealing someone else's money and doing it and creating inflation from it. But this one's really crazy to me because this is owned by a foreign government who we act like is our enemy, and we're paying them millions of dollars.
Right.
Like, how much of a drain of money is this on taxpayers?
Also, when it's not a charity and it's the government doing it, it's often not an act of charity. It's some ulterior, nefarious motive.
And
Like, Biden's not trying to
pockets.
help immigrants. Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. Like, if it's a charity, you're going to choose if you support it or not. And you're going to want to have audits.
Good ones might win, yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to want to do your research. Well, the government, we've seen over and over, the Pentagon, they fail every audit every year. You wouldn't put up with that if that's a charity you were giving your money to. You'd say, no, fuck you. Do better with your money. And then we could talk.
Dude, another thing about it, but like the immigrants living in hotels on the taxpayer dime, that was another conspiracy theory that I knew was 100% true.
Yeah.
The fact that they
All
had
this
debit
lies,
cards with like $4,000 a month or something to buy. I mean, they were getting paid just the average person. That would help the average American so much, and we're giving it to immigrants to not work. You know what I mean? Yeah. It really screws over the average tax-paying American. Gets the shaft again.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Trump, his approval rating has blown up. They confused the Democrats so much when Latino popularity with Trump blew up, especially Latino men. He won Latino men. And they thought for sure they had that on lock because they thought that the whole boogeyman of illegal immigration and him stopping illegal immigration was somehow going to offend legal immigrants here.
Yeah.
Where the people that went through this the right way and got immigration status, they thought that was going to offend them. And they thought them as one homogenous block that was going to vote for them. It's really hilarious.
But actually, immigrants that came here legally are very much against illegal immigration.
Especially male, and we can see now. Yeah. It's kind of funny because Reddit was just full of people saying, good, I hope they start doing deportations now. That's what you get. And all that. You know what we haven't talked about on the show yet is the First Amendment audits. One of the First Amendment auditors, one of them like went in front of this hotel. And it's kind of funny because you've seen other ones where cops have tried to get people to quit filming migrant centers, basically. Okay. Have you seen any of those? There's kind of a lot of them.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
More of them. Where the guy's like, you can't film there, you can't go there. He's saying, I'm a taxpayer.
Yeah, I'm on the sidewalk.
Immigrants walk over there, and I can't walk over there.
Yeah.
But if you go a couple over, I sent you a First Amendment audit. This guy stumbles across it, and it's pretty funny.
Okay. Kenobi says, make student loan debt bankruptcy eligible, which I really support that idea.
It is weird how that's like one of the debts when they don't.
I mean, I said Jordan Peterson make the point that how is this not indentured servitude? If you can't bankruptcy a debt, particularly for 18-year-olds.
Yeah, 8% interest.
Yeah, it's like, here, 18-year-old, we'll settle you with debt. You have to work it off the rest of your life. You can't declare bankruptcy, even though all other debt is like bankruptcy eligible.
So anyway. 2 cooks who are El Salvadorians here on work visas. They both love Trump and talk about it. Well, that's because they don't know what's right for them, and white liberals need to
white liberals
tell
will
them
save
what's
them.
really right for them, and they just think they think it's because he's so masculine. They look up to Trump just because he's a masculine man.
Yeah, it must be that.
What a stupid argument. How clogged up. So here's the thing, too. I've talked about how I used to be basically open borders. I see what it caused. They've got to make that legal immigration way, way more effective. Like, we need more workers. Birth rates are going way down. We're going to start seeing population decrease worldwide, too. We need immigration here. We need a fast.
Yeah. We also need birth rates to go up.
Basically, we just need to cut off government support to immigrants is what we need.
Oh, yeah. And if that was the case, if there was no welfare state, I think an open border might be the way to go. Just completely. Anybody can come.
Fox Bar was talking about, this is what I was trying to get across earlier. Milton Friedman laid out how people spend money, and politicians do it in the worst way. Other people's money on other people. There's I think it was Hammy talking about there's 3 degrees. First degree is you spending your money on yourself. And then there's you spending your money on other people. And then we have someone else spending your money on other people.
You know what?
I think there's one more in there. But
yeah, I think there's a 4th degree, which is like
I think it's the 4th.
Pretending to spend money so that you can launder it with your cronies in the government. Like
Yeah.
Okay, you wanted me to go over a couple.
Not that one yet. Not that one yet. It should be
the Canadian dollar is now
one more
at its
over.
lowest point since peak pen.
Yeah, look at this. This one's pretty awesome. I think it's the same hotel. Not it's kind of the same. It's a migrant housing facility, basically.
All right.
And they try to tell him he can't film. It's pretty funny.
A New Yorker gets confronted by security at a migrant housing facility. I nominate this man for Speaker of the House. Okay.
I've seen hundreds of this guy's videos, too. It just happened to be that our show was talking about this week, so I got to go find that one.
Yeah, so this is a guy who does First Amendment audits, and for people who don't know, it's basically you film in public because it's your First Amendment right to film. It's a freedom of speech. And then police often don't understand that, and then they
try to ban ID. It's pretty funny.
Okay, let's play it.
Oh, it's a shelter. Oh, good looking. It's a shelter, my peeps. You heard?
You're not supposed to do that.
Excuse me?
You're not supposed to film here. That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to film here.
What is this?
I don't know. You don't have right to do this.
I don't have the right to do what?
Yes, you don't have right to film in here. That's what I'm telling you.
What is this over here? And who are you?
Okay, you want to know who I am? Please, sir, you don't have right to film here. I'm talking to you right now. You don't have right to film here. Can you please?
Who are you?
I don't know.
Bro, we're in the building. They don't want nobody out here.
They don't want nobody where?
They're standing in front of the building with a camera.
Okay.
Oh, y'all bugging.
And you really want recording, bro. You bugging.
All right, you wait.
Yo, why you surrounding me? Why you surrounding me, yo?
You wait.
Oh, now you want me to wait?
No, you wait.
What's up, yo? What's up with you, yo?
Relax.
Yo, why y'all surrounding me? What's up, yo?
Relax.
You can't be here.
Relax.
They're also talking right now.
Talk to who? I don't talk to popos, nigga. I'm not a snitch.
Turn around, nigga.
You go talk to them.
Turn around, nigga.
Stop playing with me.
Turn
Look
around,
at this
nigga.
one. Look at this bird. Yo, who are you, bro?
Why you on my property?
Oh, your property?
My property.
Yo, stop playing with me,
Come
man.
on, Bert.
Look at this Bert. Dude.
How do you know his name?
So many people don't understand that you have the right to film. So leave me alone.
Don't you realize he's trying to
bait you? Let him.
I'm about to knock him the f out. That's what I'm about to do. If they don't move back, what the f is all y'all niggas doing, bro? Especially you, bro. Who the fuck you think you are? Huh? You don't come to the sidewalk and talk to me like that, nigga. You hear me? You hear me?
Dude, I'm loving this guy. I'd vote for him. Speaker of the
Yeah,
House.
he's awesome.
Make this the last time you approach a member of the public giving them orders on the fucking sidewalk, nigga. Stick to your job.
This is our job to tell you to move.
You don't tell me to fucking move, nigga. I don't go by. Who are you, nigga?
Doing my job.
Who are you?
Doing my job.
Your job is inside, nigga, not outside, bro.
outside.
Who?
Security.
What security, nigga? Look at you. Look at the cop right here, nigga.
security.
What's your name and
Cop's
background?
laughing.
I don't know how to read.
Right here.
What is it?
You're filming it.
What is it?
It's right here.
Say it out for the people, bro.
7807.
Name.
What's up?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There you go. Now you keep it moving and don't fuck with me, nigga, before I knock you the fuck out, nigga.
This guy's a legend.
Fuck is wrong with y'all niggas, man? This is sidewalk. I don't know what this is. I don't know who you are. You don't come outside and give me orders, nigga. All right? And I'm still here. And you came to and gave me an order. And why were you still here? Everybody, there you go. You getting orders. Get your ass inside, bro. Don't come to the sidewalk giving members of the public orders.
How great is that?
They're so great because the people who confront the First Amendment auditors always end up finding out that they're in the wrong. So you get to watch them eat crow.
Yeah, a lot of them have good payoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a sergeant gets there and educates them.
If you go back, you know what? Go to the next one. It's kind of on the same, kind of goes into Kashes. So this is a libertarian on X, who's kind of a halfway famous libertarian. But here's the FBI coming to his house.
Yeah,
he does.
I remember
really
when this
good
happened.
Here. Yeah, I think this one's worth showing since we'll hopefully get into Cash today too.
Okay, yeah, maybe we'll show this and then get into Cash because.
Let's wait then a little bit. Go a couple of videos over. You're right. Not the other way.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
Yeah, couple more. Here is. Go one more here. All right, so
this one
talked about how it almost seemed to be that the immigration everything had to happen all at once, and it did happen all at once. And now, despite them trying to jail Trump and bankrupt Trump and make him look bad with January 6th and make him look bad the Burisma thing, and then try to kill him twice, he's president, and he says, "Fuck this, we're stopping." Tom Homan comes in and says, "We're arresting a lot of people, and if any governors and mayors want to stand in my way, we'll arrest them too." So now I think these other countries are stuck between a rock and a hard place because they went all in on this, and they've got to the point where they've only got the negative benefits. They've gotten the worst economies, pissed off electorate, but at the same time, the electorate still has enough voting power to vote them out, and we're seeing some pretty funny backstepping. So the two most obvious ones, too, are the UK and Canada. But I got some video to show you here.
Okay. Should play this?
Yeah, play this one.
What the British people are owed is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck. It isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident.
This happened by design, not by accident. He's speaking about the huge influx of immigrants into the UK.
Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose.
Pause real
quick. Turn Britain into.
Brexit was kind of the opposite idea.
I know.
Basically, the European Union has these numbers that they have to hit for taking in migrants and stuff. And that's one of the reasons they left.
Yeah.
Because they had a bunch of unelected people trying to impose laws on the voters of a different country that have no say over the EU.
Dude, I'm sure that Brexit...
Liberals... Isn't it funny how much liberals hated Brexit? They just love being ruled and governed. It's nuts.
Yeah. Brexit was certainly about, like, not having tons of immigration. That was a big part of it. Like, he's blaming Brexit, which I think is a great evil move by a liar.
He's and the super liberal wings in the UK government are the ones that are bringing in. It's not the Brexit wing of the government isn't saying we need more immigrants.
That's a great point. Brexit was not the
super left idiots like Keir Starmer
who were super against Brexit.
Yes. He's super against Brexit and was super for immigration. But he's admitting it's by design.
Yeah.
But play this out.
It's a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support, of which they then pretended wasn't happening.
How nuts?
Dude, I have to assume that he is behind a lot of the immigration.
They jail you for saying you're against immigration.
Yeah.
But here he is saying that this is a failed experiment.
Yeah, no kidding. Put him in jail.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So there's this, we haven't talked about this, I don't think, but there's a giant petition going around basically saying that the UK people want another election because it's going so bad. And they ask him about it. Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah, play this out. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
I think now, I talked to my little brother about it, I think they're up to like 4 or 5 million, which how many fucking people are there in the UK?
I don't know, but I'll go sign it.
Are you now feeling the pressure? Because I think there's a petition that's currently online
have dropped.
of 1.9 people who want the election to go again.
Million. It's now
Is
over
it 2 million now?
It's just over 2 million.
Do you feel the pressure?
Look, I remind myself that very many people didn't vote Labour at the last election.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that many of them want a rerun. That isn't how our system works. There would be plenty of people who didn't want us in the first place. The thing is,
These
if you
power-hungry weaklings are not just going to give up power. They're going to do what they can to delay it. They're going to do what happened in France, where they go and they just shift power to somebody else.
Yeah.
These are just very, very weak men who got into power, and there's no way they're giving up. They haven't had power in their entire lives.
These kind of people never give up power.
No.
You know, that's why he's a tyrant. You know.
Yeah.
Should we get into the FBI stuff, Garrett, or should we
play out? Yeah, we gotta talk about it. Trudeau here, the same thing too. Go play that. Go left.
Left this way.
No, go to the right now. Yeah, right. You keep skipping the one. Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Here's him kind of going back on the same thing. Like
another weak tyrant here.
Yeah.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm gonna let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn.
Man, they are really backstepping, huh?
Yeah, they're taking they're cutting it way down for a while. And I think it's because they have to. The U.S. did. They're going to. And it's going to separate the economies very quickly. Very quickly.
Yep. People that seek power generally are tyrants, yeah.
Yep. They're like the guys that have been the theater kids that got bullied by the jocks their whole lives. Look at that one. Look what they're doing. This is going to help.
This kind of thing, man, really offends me. $250. Canadians are having so much problems with inflation and not being able to pay their rent.
Their housing crisis. Like, you can't. Their dollar right now is like 70 cents to the U.S. dollar. Good luck buying a house. Good luck, young Canadians, raising a family. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. See,
the
that
housing pressure is so crazy because your government is just bringing in a ton of people from India. So much so it's changing the culture of your entire country. So much you guys can't go to the beach anymore because people are shitting on the beach. Literally, there's signs up saying "Don't shit on the beach," and there's 10 guys shitting on the beach right next to that sign.
You know, you made the point of like, good luck buying a house in Canada. Good luck starting a family. And that's the point I was going to make when we mentioned the birth rates being plummeting. Like, I think people would have children if they thought that their position in life would be like a house, a stable job, plenty of money. But because it's not that way for everyone, birth rates are plummeting.
It's part of the equation for sure.
It's definitely part
along with plummeting testosterone levels.
Yeah,
we're seeing a giant rise in fertility issues. That's a big part of this too.
Yep. Okay, I'll play this.
For 2 months, starting December 14th, we're going to remove
Pause real quick.
the GS.
So there's a weird shit with Canadian elections too. Like, they have to call the election, whatever, and he's refusing to right now. But here's him trying to. I guess we're going to have it 2 months. He's trying to buy some goodwill here.
Oh yeah, and he's not paying enough.
Yeah.
GST, HST from groceries, 100% of groceries, all groceries. We're going to remove the GST from restaurant meals, takeouts, fast food. Removing the GST from beer and wine.
It's a tax.
Yeah.
Removing the GST for
but just
essentials.
like kids' clothing, footwear, diapers.
Are you realizing that these taxes hurt the common people? Are you kind of admitting that all of these fucking government taxes are a strain on the average person?
And toys. All tax-free. We also know that there's more we need to do, particularly for working Canadians. So if you worked in 2023 and earned up to $150,000, we're going to be sending you a check for $250 in just a few months.
$250? Keep it. Throw it in the garbage. Like that kind of thing, it offends me, man. It's so small. It's like, here's a penny.
Yeah, that's like 2 Uber Eats in Canada.
Yeah. Fidel Jr. Absolutely. I love that's my favorite conspiracy theory.
The next one kind of makes the point I'm trying to make a little bit, but it's too long to play the whole thing. Play a little bit of this, maybe even like a minute.
The beginning? Okay.
Yes. It just kind of shows that Canadian dollar is in deep trouble and why that's a huge issue, especially now that Trump got elected. And it's not just tariffs. It's just that they're expecting a boom in the American economy now because of Trump, so much so that they're thinking they're not going to have to lower our interest rates as fast. In Canada and the rest of the world, they maxed out. They have to start lowering. Pretty soon, Japan's have to go negative again, and the U.S. isn't. And we're going to see the currencies of the world crumble compared to the dollar.
Dude, that's what should happen. So that's what I like to see. I'm sorry that it will hurt the people, but they need to have a better government.
They've got to go get their own Malay or Trump.
Yes.
They've got to go and grow the balls to take their medicine to cut their government.
Right.
Because you can't rely on the government, and that's what this experiment is showing you.
Right.
If you're smart enough to see it.
Stop virtue signaling yourselves into death.
Yes.
And instead have actual virtue where you get what you earn. Okay, here you go.
The Canadian dollar is now at its lowest point since peak pandemic. Before that, the last time it fell below 72 cents US was almost a decade ago. And everyone we spoke to expects it's still got further to fall.
We are kind of expecting to move to like 69 cents in the next 3 to 6 months.
Now look, maybe you're thinking, I have no plans to travel to the US. Why do I care? But even if you never leave your neighborhood, the exchange rate absolutely affects you. So let's go through how, starting with how the dollar fell so low in the first place. Generally, there are 2 big selling features that make investors want to put their money into one country over another. One is if they believe that country's economic outlook is trending in the right direction.
One of the stark divergences we see in Canada versus the US is, number one, the economies are moving in 2 different ways.
For example, the unemployment rate in the US is about 4%. In Canada, it's been creeping up. Now it's 6.5%. GDP growth last quarter was close to 3% in the US. In Canada, it was around 1%. And the debt to income ratio in the United States, that's how much of your gross monthly income goes to paying debt, is around 100%. In Canada, it's 180%.
Oh my God.
Good luck, Canadians.
Yeah.
US, you're on that precipice right
No
now.
kidding. Like, look how screwed we are.
That 100%.
Yeah, U.S. is screwed, except it's going to be okay because of our new Doge and everything. But Canada's almost twice as bad as us. They are screwed, bro.
And growing. That's the difference, too. Is it's not a static thing. That's going in the wrong direction very quick.
And they aren't ready to admit that socialism's not going to work, so they're screwed.
Yeah. Play a little bit more of this because it starts getting into a little bit kind of about Trump winning. It's kind of interesting.
That means more debt than income. You get the point. Economy's unequal. But the other big reason investors might want to put money into a particular country is when it's got high interest rates.
If like an international investor has money to invest in either Canada or US, all else equal, they'll gravitate to where the interest is higher because they earn more.
And so that's unquestionably at this point in the United States.
Canada has been cutting rates over and over again since the summer, trying to kickstart a stalling economy. Meanwhile, in the US, with a much stronger economy, their rates haven't moved as much. So far, they've only cut 0.75 of a percentage point off their policy rate to Canada's 1.25 percentage point.
While we don't have to move in lockstep with each other, We tend to, but on this particular occasion, we haven't.
Now, there were signs that the U.S. was going to start cutting interest rates more aggressively too, which would, in theory, help take some pressure off the Canadian dollar. But just a few weeks ago, the entire economic landscape changed. President-elect Donald Trump has a very different economic plan than Joe Biden. He's promised to slash taxes, deregulate, boost spending, and put in some pretty hefty tariffs. All of that has markets predicting a boost in growth.
What his platform is very nationalistic.
And you can stop it there.
Okay.
But it's just going to show that diversions get worse. And one of the things is Trump, and it's deregulate is a big one. That scares liberals. They think like dirty water, dirty air. But Canada is highly regulated too, obviously. But yeah, it's a big one, and I think we're going to see the difference between the U.S. and these other countries that were trying to go more that communist direction, be in some really big trouble, starting with Germany, starting with Canada, starting with the U.K.
You know, it looks to
And
me
Japan.
like...
Japan's in deep trouble, too.
It looks to me like the United States is going to do some things in the same way that Milei did in Argentina. And those things are going to be great for our country and for our economy. These other countries who are struggling, they're either going to do that too, or they're going to continue to get worse. And it looks like they're going to get worse and worse until they finally bring in their Trump, their Milei. Until then, they're just shit's going to be worse for them. And the Canadians, you know what? They're going to get rid of Trudeau in this next election, and they're going to.
We will make
America we got a subscriber
great again.
Hey,
thanks, Gigwise.
Thanks for joining us.
We're going to make America great again. But oh yeah, but Canada is going to elect Pierre Poilievre. He's the guy on the right, Conservative Party for Canada. And then, you know what? Maybe Canada has a chance. Until then, they're screwed.
Yeah, they still just have way too much liberals there and stuff. But yeah, it looks like there's a giant pushback between Drew. It's so funny. The leftist governments everywhere, their rallying cry is there's a pushback against the establishment. That's why. It's not that everyone is moving to the right in hitting our terrible policies. It's just they're mad about the cost of eggs and they're taking it out on who's ever in power, which is obviously bullshit.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think we spent a lot of time on the economy there.
Yeah.
It's already been 50 minutes.
You know what? Before we get into it, just go to the next two videos. They're real quick. We can do these in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Just to take a little politics break. Go to the right. I'm sorry. Did I say left? Here is. Look at that. Play this one here. Go back.
This one?
Play this one.
Okay.
Yeah, look at this. Make it full screen. Basically, we're looking for a dog. Look at this dog. This is Mar-a-Lago. This is Trump's property.
Okay.
It's coming up here in just a second. It's a little dystopian. I get it. Look at that.
Oh, man.
Look at that. That's that robot dog. It's policing the area.
No, I got to move our webcams.
Okay.
Dude, I think it's super dystopian, but I also think it's inevitable and
For sure.
It just depends on if our society ends up sucking, if it's dystopian or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's inevitable and it's really a sign of the times. This is a great sign of the times right here. Is this robot dog walking around in the park?
Funny that sci-fi nailed this one. Sci-fi always had one of those futuristic cop robots. It always had it as a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of nuts.
Dude,
there's a dog out there policing.
Yeah, I've seen other videos with, similar kind of thing, a robot
And
dog.
in China, they're going to have no problem putting a flamethrower on that fucking thing either.
For sure. Yeah, probably already got it.
Go to the next one, too, real quick. It's the Tesla robot.
Man,
Look at this thing.
Yeah. This is amazing. Here we go. Let me full screen it. Okay, watch this.
Dude. What's the math on that has to be crazy.
Yeah.
But look at it. The
Gets
arm almost teleports. It's so fast.
The fact that it can do this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's predicting where it will be.
This will be less than 30,000. Every house is going to have one of these.
Oh, for sure. It's going to do all the laundry and stuff.
You
I can't wait.
said this could drive your kids to school, or you just teach your kids and be its teacher.
I don't need this thing to drive. The car will drive itself.
Yeah, drive itself, yeah.
But yeah, it'll be the teacher. It'll be, man, it's honestly.
What a weird time to be
the robot
alive.
dog and the Tesla robot catching a ball. We just played 2 clips that are really like signs of the times. Are really,
and they're kind of opposite too. Where this one I think is gonna have to do a lot of good. The robot dog still scares the shit out of me.
You know, I think that the robot, the ubiquitousness of robots is about to explode, where it's gonna be a thing like before the internet. It's going to be before robots were in your house doing your dishes. And we're right on the edge, man. Like, I always think it's going to be next year. So I'm just going to say 10 years from now, there's going to be a robot doing my dishes, man.
It won't be 10, at least for the kind of upper income folks. It's not going to be 10. This thing's too close.
Yeah.
This is Jetsons shit, really.
Yeah, do my dishes, fold the laundry. And then also, you know, it will be like, it'll have Chat GPT inside of it. I'll be talking to it. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
speaking of teaching kids, did you know Kash Patel is a children's author?
I didn't know that.
You got to see this. So Kash Patel is going to be the head of the FBI. Wow.
One thing we learned in the Trump administration.
Hang on.
What you need to show.
You had it up. Go left a couple.
Okay, but I think there's a video of him I want to play first.
Okay.
Where he basically explains his plan for the.
Play this one first. This one's good. Play the one we're talking about the book first.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good intro. So I think this is Trump's best pick, by the way. This is the one that gives me the most hope of him actually dismantling shit. Just because of how militant he has been on it.
Yeah, I mean, he says explicitly, like, I'm going to dismantle the FBI, basically. He's going to be head of the FBI, and his goal is to change it completely, which it needs badly.
He believes in the deep state. He names the deep state. He also had his worst pick, too, the head of the DEA, which I got to show you that, too. Okay. But play this. All right. It's pretty,
yeah,
they're using this to attack him, of course, but it's pretty fucking funny.
My name is Kash Patel, and I have written the first ever children's Russiagate book. It's called The Plot Against the King. It is a fantastical telling by me, the Russiagate chief investigator under then Chairman Nunes, of how we triumphed to put truth over evil and report the facts to the American public. Please go to the link below and order your copy today.
Wow, so this guy was on the good side of the Russiagate investigation? He's the one who said, look at them all conspiring and lying about Russiagate?
That's where he kind of got big from, really.
Oh, okay, I wondered. I didn't know. I've only learned about this guy in the last day, but everything I've seen I really like.
Yeah.
And he's Trump's pick to head up the FBI, right?
Yep. And basically, like Elon said, this is their line in the sand. If he doesn't get... If a Republican votes against them, Elon's going to throw all of his money against that guy in the next election to get him primaried.
So Elon thinks this dude's super important, too.
Yeah.
This almost comes across as an SNL
Very much so. If you told me that's fake, if you told me that's fake and I got caught by a fake video, I would believe you, actually. I don't like the name of it, though. Plot Against the King. It's just kind of... I get that they're trying to have a kid's book. And that plays well with kids. But I still don't like the name.
You know, it comes across as an SNL skit also because he is kind of trolling. Who writes a children's book about Russiagate? You know what I mean? It's just a funny... He's doing kind of a funny thing there.
I don't think he is. I think he's very serious. I think there's a children's book called The Plot Against the King.
I know there is, but...
I think it's for kids.
All right. But, okay. I want to play the video... where he, let me find it on my tab here. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay. Here you go.
Guy's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops.
Or
go be
fire
cops. Go chase down murderers. And and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government. Yeah.
Dude, how much does that apply to everything we said earlier?
Yeah, that's why it's a great pick.
And, he specifically says on day one, he will close the Hoover building, which is where the Intel, the Intel department
spying
of the
on
FBI.
Americans, basically.
Yeah, spying on Americans, doing nothing.
Sending FBI agents to parent-teacher organizations to make sure that there's no anti-trans slogans they hear.
All the horrible shit of the FBI. Being above the law.
Play the FBI clip we skipped over. That'd be a good intro to this, too.
Okay, yep. Yeah, I mean, the FBI, there's no doubt. Like, dude, I'll tell you what. 10 years ago, I probably liked the FBI and sort of thought it was a good thing, or maybe 20 years ago. But it's become so clear how corrupt the FBI is.
Yeah,
dude.
the right used to be like the party of, well, they still are, but they're the party of like law and stuff. And the FBI is a strong central law
protecting
force.
American, arresting serial killers. I like that kind of thing.
Oh.
That seems to be small of what the FBI does. Instead, the FBI just creates false flags and, frames
Makes a list
American
if you have a Ron
citizens.
Paul bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Calls you a potential domestic terrorist.
Ned Pepper
Whereas
says
Catholic is domestic terrorist.
Ned Pepper says, get back to your stated mission. Cut everything back. Absolutely. Kenobi says, listing the Catholics as domestic terrorists. Yeah. I mean, the FBI, the crimes of the FBI, the bad of the FBI seems to far outweigh the good of it in the last 20 years. And oh yeah, but also it might be longer than 20 years because I'm pretty sure the FBI was behind Martin Luther King Jr. assassination. And, maybe it was the CIA. I don't know. I
don't put much distinction between the different three-letter agencies.
I don't either.
They all seem to hate Americans.
That's a good way to see it.
They seem to look at us all with distrust. I think it's to the left more.
No. Let's see. There it is.
There it is. This is the famous, well, no real libertarians are famous. In the libertarian world, this guy's kind of famous.
Okay. And the FBI shows up to his house. Let's watch
it.
Hey, how can I help you? Yeah.
How are you?
Who are you?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Can you give your full name, please?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Is that sufficient to identify as the only one O'Donnell affiliated with the FBI?
In New Hampshire, yes.
Could you please state your full name, sir?
Could you please stop recording?
No. It's First Amendment right.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Could you stop recording, please?
Absolutely not. You can show me your name and identification, or I'm going to go back.
Already, why would these government officials not want him to record?
Yeah.
That offends me already.
It's at my house.
Okay. I don't really want to broadcast my...
Oh, this is going out right after you guys walk away.
So that's why I'm not going to...
So you can show me your name and ID, you can walk away.
We just want to talk to you.
I'm not going to talk to people who claim to be federal agents unless they can show me identification.
Okay, well, you see our badges.
I need to see... Is your full name on that badge?
No.
I'd like to see something with your full name or I'm not going to talk to you.
I prefer you not to broadcast it.
This will be going online as soon as you walk away.
Well,
they think they can intimidate him to not put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. And
they
they
acting like that.
Another thing is like, I think they'll say like, oh, we're secret agents out here. We don't want to be targeted by Al-Qaeda. That's why we don't want you to film this.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, if you're coming up to my house to talk to me, I can film you. And and guess what? You're not in any danger. And if you were, that's on you.
Yep.
Kenobi says intimidation tactics. Now imagine someone who doesn't know how to handle.
Man, I don't want to go off too far, but there's Mark Andreessen. He's kind of big in the crypto world. He did a podcast with Rogan where he basically said the government basically forced a ton of the crypto guys to have a meeting with them and basically said, we can't stop you from launching these, but we highly, highly urge you not to. And then they debanked all of them. And they basically intimidated them to not talk about being debanked. But now that Trump won, a lot of these guys are coming out and saying, oh, yeah, it's terrible. And it happened to Melania Trump. It happened to Barron Trump. I think they need to very quickly punish very severely anybody that caused anyone to be debanked, especially for political reasons.
Me too.
That shit needs to stop very quick.
I don't think debanking should happen.
Especially when it happens across platforms. It'd be different if, like, Wells Fargo said, you can't bank here, Nate. We're a private business. You can't bank here. Okay, but every bank that are supposed to be competing against each other at the same time does it? That's not okay. And then at the same time, you have Uber doing it and Airbnb doing it. All of these companies at the exact same time, they gotta investigate that, and they need to very seriously go after people that did that.
Yeah,
very
it's a
seriously.
conspiracy against the people who were debanked.
And we were told this wasn't happening, but now people are okay with it. The left is, and the media is, because it's happening to the right only. It's kind of like when Tulsi Gabbard went and said that she was getting enhanced security all the time. They basically said, "Oh, we haven't heard that before." She's like, "Well, I've said it before, so go do your research," and nobody bothers to. Because it's their political enemies, because we don't have a real media here, because our media is so bad. But, you know, when China did this in the social credit system, everyone instantly knew it was a terrible idea. We have Black Mirror episodes on it. We have so many warnings on that. But now we have half the country wanting that because it's actually happening, and they're applauding it.
They love when it happens to the other side. Democrats love when any kind of abuse happens to Republicans. They love that.
Don't they see that now that
I know
all of the power that they gave the federal government and Trump, now it's under Trump. Trump and his friends now have that power because you guys are too short-sighted and you're a bunch of morons.
Right.
When you're sitting at home worried about that next election, thinking, oh God, we have videos of people crying. That shows you that's too important. The president has too much power. If you're at home crying over who the next president's going to be, the U.S. people have lost the plot there. The president's not supposed to have that much power to have the average person crying.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to me that enough Americans are like, what? We just need to give him more power. We need to give him more power.
As long as it's their guy, they think it's great.
And so when Biden goes against his word after he's not going to do it forever, and he pardons his son, don't you see that now anybody that Trump pardons is fair game? You guys just keep upping this big government power, and you don't see it. When they were trying to get rid of the filibuster forever, that was their big thing. Get rid of the filibuster. What then? We have 53 Republicans in the Senate. That would be enough for a majority. What then?
Right.
That filibuster's gone. How are you going to stop Trump then? Are the Republicans, if you think they're really Hitler and they're really fascist, why are you lobbying to have them give more power? You stupid fucking
right.
idiots.
And they'll even do it on super important stuff like the freedom of speech. They're willing to get rid of the freedom of speech as long as it silences the other guy right now.
They're really good at putting caveats in there. Well, Google's a private company. Yeah, because that's what Democrats have been for last time. Letting giant corporations decide what people are allowed to say. That being a cornerstone of the Democrat Party in the 90s. Like, come on. We were letting big corporations decide what rights you have. You narrow-sighted idiots.
Should I keep this video going?
Yeah, it gets better and better. Okay. He's just getting rolling.
Well, I want to talk to you about you guys coming here.
You see it?
Yeah. I mean, already that is dystopian to me. Like, don't come to my house for a Facebook post.
He's lucky he doesn't live in the UK. They would have hauled him right to jail.
For sure. Thank God we have the freedom of speech.
Canada has a whole separate weird bureaucracy that was set up not by voters that gets to fine people if it's found to be inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I can't wait for Kash Patel to change the FBI so these dorks quit harassing good Americans.
These guys should be fired. If they're saying I was just doing my job, well, we know through history that's not a suitable excuse.
Yeah,
make
a found that out.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what. Low 100K? You guys making six figures? Factor in 50% expenses, overhead, maybe 100% expenses. Talking about burning a couple $100 an hour just here, let alone all the time you guys are spending to investigate something that you know is not against the law, right? Like you're familiar with. So then why would you come?
Because we wanted to make sure that there weren't any.
No, you're coming because you're part of a regime that does this kind of thing when you know laws aren't being broken. And that's an embarrassment, man. Didn't you guys read the Constitution?
Smirk at him.
Dude, he's schooling these two right now.
Yeah, the one on the left is the worst.
But I'm loving this. This guy is schooling them. And they're embarrassed, I think. Like, I do think that they realize that they're wrong.
He doesn't. He's thinking you're ridiculous, you're unreasonable. Don't you know we're federal agents?
Right.
He's not the least embarrassed.
Do you not
He's
believe
not
in
excited
America?
about this going out, but
Like, how do you do your jobs and go home?
We appreciate it.
You're walking away. Because nothing we did is against the law, and you guys are fuckheads that try to act like bullies. And I hope you go home and are embarrassed. You can't even say your name on camera because you know that what you're doing is embarrassing. You know Americans that believe in the Constitution think you're laughable. And you go home and you think about what you did today. Go home and think about it, you cowards.
I love they call them cowards too.
Me too. They
tell their
legendary.
wives when they're leaving for work. They tell their wives, I'm putting my life on the line today.
Yeah,
hopefully I come home and see the kids tonight.
Yeah, in the meantime, they're going and harassing dudes about Facebook posts.
Yeah.
Yep, I can't wait for the FBI to be completely reformed. And I'm a huge fan of Kash Patel for the little bit that I've watched of it. Okay, should I play the last 10 seconds? Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Drive away. Drive away.
Thank you for your time.
You're not welcome. You should be embarrassed. Embarrassing. You guys are embarrassing.
Man. I'm so sick of my money funding the harassment of American citizens.
You can go to it's Jeremy and it starts with a K, but there's nothing in there that I went through a bunch of his posts. There's not that made me think that they need to have Kaufman. That's who it is, right there. This
Jeremy
is who
Kaufman?
that guy was. Yep.
Okay, sweet. Be free, make babies, build stuff, and have fun. I support that message.
So he's a big libertarian, so much so where, you're going to see a bunch of like anti-Trump stuff on his page, but it still gets the point across. So yeah, Kash, I think, is the perfect guy for this. We don't have to play. There's other videos you guys could find of Kash just talking about how it all needs to be brought down and end and everything. But if you want to play this one, it's kind of interesting. Here he talks about how you go after even the journalists that are doing this.
Okay, let's watch it. Full screen.
Administration the first go around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom, and we got them for law enforcement, we got them for intel collection, we got them for offensive
Hang on, let me make sure it's playing on our stream. Okay, it is.
operations, we got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. And the one thing we will do that they never will do is we will follow the facts and the law and go to courts of law and correct these justices and lawyers who have been prosecuting these cases based on politics and actually issuing them as lawfare. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
Thank God, dude.
How about
if
that?
these people broke the law,
He's saying the lawyers, the judges.
How about some justice finally? You know,
Yeah.
that's one thing. Like we talked about the Democrats being worried about, they should be worried about the boomerang effect. Well, they actually weaponized the Department of Justice, and
It's
they
so
did
funny.
it. They did it where they were fabricating crimes and shit. Well, now Trump's going to be in there, and they committed actual crimes.
And do you know
so
what's
I
funny
don't
is
think
that-
it's a weaponization of the DOJ to go after them. It's simply justice happening.
And they were
I
saying
hope
it's
it
conspiracy theory. It's not happening. It was a big jury of their peers. Yada. But now, when Biden went and pardoned his son,
Yeah.
is the big letter said this was a weaponization of the Justice Department, which we were told was a conspiracy theory. But since it's the left saying that, the media, of course, lets it slide.
Right.
It's really pretty crazy.
Should we show here? Let me just show a little
Yeah.
bit about that, because that's the big news of the day, is that Joe pardoned Hunter. And I think it's really funny because of how much they said he wasn't going to do that, you know?
Yes.
And
we had people like that. That was like the standard. This guy's a guy of his word. This shows how much he loves law. Is that he's not going to interfere when his son goes through this.
Yeah. Kenobi says a lot of retirement parties coming soon nationwide. That's a good statement. But yeah, Joe kept saying he wouldn't do that, and the left was saying Joe's a man of integrity. He wouldn't.
He says
he's not going to pardon him.
His excuse is a weaponization of the Justice Department. Basically, is what he said. I sent you a clip on this that's really funny. They brought a congressman on who went on air saying it would never happen. It wouldn't happen. He says, "I'm gonna," and then they play it. Go, here's your words. You got to play that one. That's pretty awesome.
All right, I will play that one. Let me play this 19 seconds, though. Just.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Yeah, I love that because she acts exasperated. Oh, how could you?
I told you guys. You know what's funny is the media's doing the thing where they do the whole where like they said it wasn't going to happen. And then they're kind of saying, hey, it might happen. And then they said it's happening. But now we're at the phase where it's like, and here's why it's a good thing. And they start trying to bend over backwards to explain it. Yeah, look at this one.
This is it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is some congressman?
July of 2023, just after that plea deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Pause it real quick. She said this is him live right after, because what happened was he had a plea deal. A judge looked at it and said, no, this is bullshit. We're not doing the plea deal. This is after that fell through. That becomes important later. So play it out.
Okay.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
I mean, what is that?
He was guilty of a whole bunch of shit. That's why they investigated him.
And, you know, I don't think that pardon is the big thing here. I think pardon is a weird power for a president. I don't understand that at all. And they act like when a Republican pardons anyone, they act like it's a big thing. Obama had some terrible pardons. Other presidents had terrible pardons. And, you know, the difference between when Trump pardoned those guys they talk about, like Kushner and stuff, they already served their sentence. They pardoned them after they're already out and everything, where Biden hasn't done any of that. But the biggest thing is he just kept insisting no.
Yeah.
And then he also then blamed the politicization of the Justice Department, which we kept getting told wasn't going to happen. That doesn't happen. Those are the two big things with me. If I was president and I'm slipping away into dementia and I'm just got ousted by my party, I would pardon my son. But I wouldn't have told you beforehand that I wasn't going to.
Yeah, I wouldn't have lied the whole time.
That nobody's above the law and that the justice system isn't politicized. I wouldn't have lied to you about that. I just would have done it.
Right. Also, maybe I wouldn't have. You know, maybe I would actually give a shit about the office of the presidency and the nation, and maybe my crack smoking, influence peddling. God knows what Hunter is guilty of. Maybe he deserves to go to fucking jail, and
Here's the thing. One of them's for buying a gun. I think the law they threw him in jail for is unconstitutional with that. The guy bought a gun. We have a Second Amendment right that shall not be infringed. It doesn't matter if he's been a drug user or not. I don't see anywhere that says you have a right to bear arms. It should not be infringed unless you're a drug user. I don't see that anywhere.
Or something?
It's a drug. He's always because he put on the form that he wasn't addicted to any drugs. That's what they got him for.
Huh.
Because you do a background check, and on that background check is a box saying, are you on any drugs or addicted to drugs, illegal drugs? And he said no. That's what they got him on.
Oh, and he was on it. I get it. Maybe I would agree with you. I haven't looked into that at all, but I think you probably are making a good point there.
Yeah. Play this out.
Yeah, but
like watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son.
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It already fallen
that
through.
Only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through. And I hear what you're saying.
That's what they brought him on for. They brought him on the time because he just fell through. They asked him if he was going to pardon him. And then he gave that big, self-righteous, smart sniffing speech.
Yeah.
And then he
For
even
us,
goes on there and uses that for his excuse. Here's another good one. Play this one, too.
Okay.
Is a president who is living the rule of law. He is living it in in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country. And it is I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son. I mean, I'm not saying that he should get credit for it because it is the right thing to do.
That's the norm, but Trump is beneath it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that the idea that you can't see it, or is that really what's going on? Or when you can see what he is actually living by is his own son is being prosecuted, and he is allowing the norms that are required to live in a democracy to go forward.
Ugh. Yeah, it's crazy to me how the Democrats, they have no integrity, but they always talk about their integrity.
Pull up the picture I sent you in this chain here.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was this one.
Yeah, zoom out a little bit. It zoomed in too much. Or scroll down. Look at that. See what this is here?
No.
I'm pretty sure on this one. That's Hunter. And he's laying there because he's got a fractured skull. I think this is like right after that big car accident. And he could have went and sworn in himself, but he brought his son with a fractured skull and put him in dress clothes for this to be a pawn because he thought it would make him look better. Like this poor Hunter has just this evil fucking dad.
Let me move the webcam. So so his son got hurt, and he brought him as a prop to the thing to say.
He's got a broken skull here.
The kid should be resting at home or at the hospital, but he wanted him
not in dress clothes, here to be a prop for his evil fucking dad.
I see. I hadn't
heard This kid had no chance to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it was his laptop. They're going after him. But like I said, the gun charge is a bullshit charge. That should be thrown out anyway. But that's kind of the whole Chevron deference that the Supreme Court was very clear on, that the liberals hated, is that these other agencies can't make laws. That is not we have a separation of power for a reason.
That's such a big thing.
Yes, and that's what this is. Congress didn't pass Senate didn't pass a law saying, all right, you have to fill out this background check, and if you don't check this box here, but you're actually on drugs, we're going to give you a felony. That is coming from the ATF, whatever it is.
Yeah. That kind of shit. Thank God for the Chevron ruling that kind of thing is out.
They're going to be able to use that when it comes to like Doge, and that is going to be the biggest thing that people aren't talking about. Is now the Supreme Court says that these agencies can't make laws.
Yeah. So there goes a lot of the agency's power that they shouldn't have had.
Yeah.
Kenobi says Dr. Jill must have said Hunter would be okay. And we missed a comment.
The View said, like, I don't know why Joe doesn't make Dr. Jill the Attorney General. She's a great surgeon. She's not a medical doctor. She's not a surgeon.
Right. She's probably a doctor of gender studies or something.
Yeah.
Ned Pepper says the Democrat Party abandoned Joe for a half-wit that was going to disappear had Joe not picked her as VP because of her sex and gender. Why would Joe back that party now over his son?
And not only that, he nominated her to be the candidate because they knew that maybe she wasn't going to be the candidate. He did that on purpose.
You think he nominated her to tank?
It's coming out now. Yeah, it came out. He was really pissed. They were quick vetting a bunch of people for a really quick, basically kind of a primary they were going to do. It was Obama and Pelosi. This is all out now. They've all admitted it. And then in the 11th hour, he came out because that was a big thing. The media said he didn't endorse anybody in this. That's really weird. And then he might even know they sent that. That wasn't his signature. But then that night when they were vetting people, he came out and said, by the way, I endorse Kamala Harris, and it was over. They knew she was going to win.
So funny.
You know, her.
So you think
her,
he set her up to lose on purpose? I love this conspiracy.
It's not even conspiracy. It is a known out thing that they did not want. They wanted a primary, and even Nancy says it. She even said in that interview, "We wanted a primary." She said, and it might have been Kamala, but she would have been stronger from the primary. But that's not a thing. You can't be stronger after a 2-day primary or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, it wasn't going to be Kamala. They knew she was unelectable. That was. This is all out now. This is not a conspiracy. This is all out.
The Joe tanked her.
Her campaign staff went on a bunch of podcasts this week, and it was pretty telling. They were pretty open about a lot of this. Her internal polling never had her up ever. Did not have her winning. So they knew that these public polls that showed it tied, and they said we thought we had an outside chance. We thought if some things broke for us, that it was winnable, but we were never off.
But you're telling me that Joe picked Kamala because he knew she couldn't win.
He picked her to get back at the ousting. What I can tell is what's completely 100% out there. We can find clips right now, basically, we want to. What is out there is that Obama and Pelosi basically outed him.
Did a coup.
They kicked him out.
Did a coup on Joe. Yep.
No, nobody's denying that. They were setting up for a primary. They're setting up for a primary, and they were already had a bunch of candidates that they were vetting. And it was that day when Joe came out and said, by the way, I endorse Kamala. That's why there's no endorsement with the letter. That's why there's that big gap with no endorsement. It's because they didn't want him to. So he came out. He's pissed off. He does that, and it basically they had to stop their plans. They had to just go with her.
Man,
her campaign staff said that she was never up for a minute. She was down the whole entire time.
Man, when Joe put on that MAGA hat, I think he was telling us something.
But yeah, those aren't conspiracies. Those are absolutely out there, and it's just a known thing.
Hey, here's a quick supercut of the media saying how Joe won't pardon Hunter. It's really long. We'll only play 30 seconds of it. But
presidential promise to put the law before a family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
What a liar he is, dude.
Yeah.
Was asked directly, and he has said he would.
And it's just funny because
they're just shameless
the media
liars.
And everybody came out and fought for this because of that.
Dude, that's actually great because now they all look like idiots.
Yep,
and they are idiots. So
and
I'm
they
glad.
were wrong again.
Yep.
Again wrong.
Again wrong. Again lecturing us and wrong.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
being morally superior and
see,
wrong.
MAGA, this is what real men do. This is what real masculinity does.
Yeah.
It's love of country over family.
Wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but I mean, he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question.
Yeah, he actually, that's the other
He got
funny.
fired, by the way.
Yeah, I know, you told me that. That's the other funny thing about this, though, is that the whole time, everyone on the right was still saying, like, he's going to pardon him. Even though we were getting brainwashed and yelled at.
Trump did.
We
Trump
all
said
knew
he's
he was. We knew that they were
Trump.
lying. We know they
There's
have
Trump
no
if-
integrity.
That's Trump if he would consider it, and he basically said Joe's gonna do it anyway.
Oh, that's
but
funny.
you know, maybe it's the right thing. But he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy.
Yeah.
that's what Trump said.
Do you know one more thing about it is like just pardoning in general? Trump needs to pardon the January 6th people. I hope he pardons all of them.
You know what? That speech we played at when he was talking to libertarians, one was put a libertarian in the cabinet, which he didn't do. 2, day 1, pardon Russ Ulbricht. Hopefully he does that. 3, the January 6th nonviolent ones. Day 1 he's going to do.
Did he say that at the Libertarian? Oh, okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear. Speaking of the FBI and pardoning, it's clear to me that the FBI set up.
So Kash Patel, another clip. I don't know if I put it in here, but he basically said, look, if they have secret agents, or they have agent provocateurs in there, which they definitely do. When you talk about that video where the guy's got an earpiece and he's pushing people in.
We did a great show on that. We actually did. But
Yeah,
anyway,
and he
go
talks
on.
about Ray Epps and all that. He goes, you don't become on the FBI's top most wanted and just disappear. That happens if you die or you were an informant. And he goes, that doesn't happen. But he said that assuming they're there, which they definitely are, and they played the clip where the lady on the congressional hearing said, I can't divulge that information. He goes, they would have said no there.
Yeah,
there
for sure
there.
was. It was definitely the FBI setting up a sting operation on January 6th. It was a false flag where they arrested and ruined the lives of a lot of
And that's what he said
Americans.
happened, is that you don't just willy-nilly say, okay, we're going to send a bunch in. He's like, that has to start at least 6, 7, 8, 9 months before.
Makes sense.
So this was planned for 6 or 7 months. And he's like, and then what happens is you hold these guys in detention. You know, our Constitution guarantees us a speedy trial. They're not giving anyone a speedy trial, and they're doing that for a reason. They're waiting for them to plea. And then the FBI can go to the government, to people, and say, we have 1,000 domestic terrorists. Our domestic terrorists is rising through the roof.
They pled guilty.
About the grandma. Yeah, they're talking about the grandma that pled because they're in solitary confinement for a year.
Yeah,
so they're using that for political reasons. Yes,
it's an absolute shame, and it's too bad that they're basically tortured in there. Honestly,
so hopefully Cash and Trump can at least write that a bit.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to say. Also, I saw that. I think maybe it was Cash. I don't know, but I saw somebody say we're going to reopen the Ashley Babbitt case since that was a cold-blooded murder on film.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it again the other day. It's like they murdered her.
They had to do that one so they could call it the deadly. Because they can't call it deadly.
They needed somebody.
So they called it the deadly January 6th. And so they say, well, who died? Ashley Babbitt. That was someone who was shot by a cop.
Yeah, I know.
So then they had to turn to, well, some police died. They died the next day. And then you look and say, well, it wasn't died due to any injuries. And then they changed it to, well, a few days later, someone committed suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have thousands of cops there. Someone eventually is going to probably commit suicide.
Yep. That whole thing was a giant lie by the media. And they basically got away with it until now. It looks like they might have some consequences.
I laugh whenever they call it an insurrection.
So do I.
Laugh. You pearl clutching retards.
Yeah.
That wasn't an insurrection.
It was not an insurrection. That was not an insurrection.
The bloody, deadly January 6th insurrection.
Dude, the Democrats still think that, and they still pretend to try to push that narrative of like the most horrible day of American history.
In Reddit,
like,
but they'll show a picture of it. Like, I still can't believe the voters thought this was okay. But at the same time, we could show just dozens of pictures of the U.S. burning due to real riots. Right. They were cementing people in the police stations and starting police stations on fire. Dude, and they called it mostly peaceful. Like, it was crazy.
Not only that, but if it wasn't for the FBI and police breaking the windows of the Capitol, telling people like Ray Epps saying, well, let's go into the Capitol.
Throwing people in.
Dude, there's that video where Ray Epps is saying, we need to go in there.
That's
and then
enough.
People around him
we gotta go
Fed,
into there.
Fed.
Yeah.
Like, people in the crowd knew he was a Fed and that he was trying to make them commit a crime.
I mean, you pull it up. You pull up this Ray Epps. It's going to be the only thing that comes up, I'm sure. And then the media. So the media has a great disdain for any January 6ers in jail. They have no empathy for it. They think it's all justified. Except Ray Epps. There's journalists going, you guys are ruining this innocent guy's life. But they don't have that same deference for these people in solitary confinement.
I know. They couldn't care less about the people who are being tortured. Okay, let's play this. I don't know if this is the clip I want, but...
It is.
Out there, I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No! Peacefully. Fed.
Look at that. The crowd was pretty savvy. They said, no. They said, this guy is a Fed. Why are the FBI trying to make people break the law?
Because it goes back to my original point. They needed Trump out. They needed his career dead so they could bring in thousands of migrants into these small swing states and completely change the culture of these areas and completely strain our bludgeoning tax dollars.
Dude,
they had to do this, not just nationwide. They had to do this worldwide, and they couldn't do it with Trump.
And the fact that they didn't arrest Ray Epps, even though I arrested everybody else.
And he was on FBI's top most wanted list.
Oh, yeah. And he just And you say, why wasn't he arrested? Oh, well, they don't have an answer for that.
No, and the media went to bat for him. If you ask anybody in the FBI, they say, "Oh, we can't talk about it. It's an open case."
Yeah, man, I hope these people face justice, and it looks like they might. It looks
for
like
the
this
first time in my entire adult life, I'm hopeful. For the first time,
I'm hopeful that they finally face justice for some
Trump's
of their
first appointment, he didn't limit government. Government still grew. There was definitely some good things about it, but government still got bigger. I'm hopeful for the first time in the first presidency ever in our lifetime that it doesn't get bigger.
Me too, man. I'm.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah, let's play this one, right? I don't know this dude, but
Scott Jennings, he's an ex-senator, I believe. There's some people saying that he was gonna be tapped for what is the speaker for the president when they what Jean Curie is. He was going to be the
secretary.
Yeah, they're thinking that he might have been the press secretary.
It seems like a good pick to me.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't know much about the guy, but I've seen a lot of clips of him in the last 3 months.
He's the token,
and I like them.
He's the token conservative that CNN had to bring in.
Yeah,
basically. But he does a good job.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else.
Dude, I love that. That's very true. It's just so clear that it's a two-tier system. These people are above the law.
Not okay with presidential pardons without looking deeper into it.
Yeah, I'd never thought about that till you mentioned it 10 minutes ago, and it is a weird thing. Why can the government? But I would have to think about it. But maybe
it was
I'm
put
against
on to help limit it's supposed to be, I believe, for when that transfer of power happened. It's supposed to make it less bloody. Is kind of what I was reading. Basically, then you could some of the people that you think were wrongly prosecuted, you could pardon them. Basically, the weird thing about this pardon. It doesn't just pardon him for those crimes he was found guilty of. It pardons him for everything.
I saw
back
that
to
11
right before
years
he
ago.
entered the Burisma. It was right before then. So obviously they're admitting that Burisma was not above board.
But that's what I was saying with God knows what crimes Hunter is guilty of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably a shitload of corruption. But yeah, the pardon was for 11 years
going
back.
For the wrong guy, and I think that they're throwing a bone to conservatives. Be like, yeah, there, we got it. We'll show him. And it's just this president's son his dad's pedophile. He probably raped him his whole life. He's raised by his stepmom. He had a drug addiction, and he's been drunk along with this Darren Ryan family. And the conservatives are like, yeah, hey, yes, we got one of them. And it's just like, that's not a fair trade.
Yeah.
Let this guy go and go after Biden.
Let's get some big fish. Yeah.
Go after the guys that are acting like the people that are really writing whatever goes on to the go to the speeches, who's really signing these bills. Go after them. Hunter has nothing to do with this. Go let him go do whatever.
Yeah, or get them all. How about that?
He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, and that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes, and Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar, and there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
Man, that was pretty good.
It goes on for like 4 or 5 minutes. It's just too long to show the long clip, but it's all over. People want to go see it.
Garrett, we've been going an hour and
I know.
40
God
minutes.
dang, I have a lot more to show you, but we'll have to wait for next week.
Okay, should we wrap it up?
Sure.
Or did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
There's some crazy liberals we could show.
Oh yeah.
As we, one of them is from Argentina. They're mad about Trump and Malay. Unless you have something to play us out on.
No, let's do that.
Selka on Twitter asks, in a nod to the...
This is a funny one, too.
Which one?
And then we have, I don't know, because this one was saved, because this is funny, because this is on Save America, it's the super liberal one, and they're trying to talk about working out. And then the next, I have a clip of Alex Jones working out, but we'll save that one. Go to a different one.
Okay.
Go to the, here's a good one.
Okay. Argentinian leftists express their anger towards Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Javier Milei.
What's weird about these crazy leftists is it's not just a countrywide thing. It's a worldwide thing. They're all fucking insane.
They're all insane. They're all cringe in the same weird ways.
Yes.
Kenobi says, if they went after Hunter, it would expose Obama too.
That's why he's doing the blanket one. I kind of don't think he even cares about just not going to jail. He's slipping into dementia. I think he's a little bit covering his tracks with that one.
I do too.
Where
Why didn't Joe just say because of a love between father and son, he is going to pardon?
Yeah, the biggest thing was...
He's a liar, but he's not that big of a liar.
He should have... He shouldn't have said he wasn't going to do it. And then it's like, whatever. The presidents pardon people all the time. Obama pardoned a convicted terrorist, so...
it is funny because him pardoning Hunter is kind of a win for the Republicans.
For sure.
Because it shows how corrupt they are.
And they were going to say that was their big thing. It's nobody's above the law. Trump thinks he's above the law.
Right. It's just another... They look like such liars.
Yep. Especially when they're twisting themselves into pretzels to explain why it's okay. Just because it's their team doing it.
Yeah. All right,
and they think it's okay just because the other guy's bad. So the other team's worse. So my team does something like that. I'm going to twist myself in a pretzel to say why it's okay.
All right, here's a video of your average liberal woman.
They're showing them. This is the worst haka I've ever seen.
No shit. They need to work on their haka.
This is a good idea.
This is great.
Hey, you don't have to play it out. Oh, we got a Chicago one.
It's hard to look. It's hard to look away, Garrett.
Oh, they brought a kid. Come on.
Bro, look at this. A new dance. A new dance just dropped.
That is a goal.
Holy shit. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna watch the rest.
This is the international language, though. We understood all of it.
Dude, the cringe will never end. It's never ending, and I love it. It's really funny to watch it.
And they attempted the haka. It looked like a terrible haka.
It did.
You know what? This is why we're still here. Go play the other one I sent you, too.
All right.
I sent you one where they did the same sort of thing in Chicago. And some Trumpers found not that one, unfortunately. We got to save that one. Here it is.
This one?
Yeah.
This is funny. I saw this. Okay. Here's the average liberal at the beach.
I know.
So yeah, they all went to the beach and screamed. They did a primal scream to vent their frustrations on Trump winning. That's what that was. Kenobi says the commie shuffle for that last one. That's funny. Oh, man. Thank goodness that we get to watch the liberals scream and cry, because it is funny. It is something I really do enjoy it.
We wanted to really play it out where we shut off our cameras and say goodbye and everything. Got a funny one, too, where everyone gets her phone stolen by some homeless guys. And she thought the whole, I'm on your side. I'm better than the other side was enough to convince these homeless guys.
Yeah.
That's only 20 seconds. It's not as long as
Here's 20 seconds.
But she really thought by her saying I'm one of the good ones was enough for them to oh, hey, I'll give you your phone back.
Yeah, that's funny. We'll play it. That's how we'll play it out. I think this was a fun show, dude.
Yep. See you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching and chatting. And
Robert, Ned, Boxbar, nice seeing you guys.
Yep. And see everybody. We'll see everybody next Monday.
Gigwise, thanks for subscribing.
That's right. Okay, I'm going to hide our webcams and play it out. Here we go.
Basically, I am not, if you stole it from rich scum, by all means keep it and sell it, but I'm a really, and I want to say, if you guys come up with my iPhone, I will give you more than, I'm an honest person. Basically, I am not, if you stole it from rich scum, by all means keep it and sell it, but I'm
had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.